By far the hardest part about this song is the fact that we're going to be down picking everything. So there's not going to be any alternate picking. No, all downstrokes. So in order to do that, I've got a bunch of tips for you. So tip number 1, you need to make sure that your pick is not moving around in your hand too much. If you're using the ever popular trigger grip, as Troy Grady says, you're going to be using the thumb pad and the side of your index finger in order to hold the pick. Now, with that method, your thumb and your index finger can still flex around a little bit, which means the angle of your pick is going to change a little bit. So you got to make sure that that is not moving. You can do that how I did it, by using the middle finger and supporting the back of your index finger and just holding it and locking it in place so that your middle finger and index finger become like a unit. You can do it the way that Kirk Hammett does it, which is he stretches his middle finger out, which again effectively does the same thing. It kind of locks the index finger between the thumb and middle finger. The other way that you can do it is like James Hetfield, which is to use your middle finger and index finger on the back of the pick and then use your thumb tip on the other side. Tip number 2, what to do with your pinky finger and your ring finger. So both of those guys splay their fingers out. Now that has the benefit of giving your hand a reference. So you know where your pick guard is and what kind of angle that your pick is going to be taking across the string. Also, if you were to just keep it on the pick guard itself, it gives your hand a little reference point for when you are switching between palm muted notes and non-palm muted notes. Now, as you can see, I'm using my pinky finger and my ring fingers here and just keeping them planted, and I'm flexing my wrist in order to lift my palm up from the strings and then straightening it up when I do want the palm muting happening. How you actually strike the string is the next tip that I'm going to give you. All right, Ben Eller released a great YouTube video talking about this as well. So he recommends, and I highly recommend it as well, to whenever you do a downstroke, to have your pick raise away from the string, so away from the pick guard. So you can think of it not as a downstroke, you can think of it as like an outstroke, away from the pick guard stroke. Either way you want to call it, that's the way I highly recommend you do it. Do not do it this way. The motions involved in getting your pick to hit the string and then come back and then clear it and then hit it again are too fine. It's very, very easy to double up on the string or hit the string by accident. Also, don't just go straight across because, again, the motion is very, very complicated. You're going to hit the E string, then your pick has to come out, and then raise, come back, and then start again. All right, so away from the pick guard. Next tip I'm going to give you is just where the motion is going to be coming from. The movement's not going to come purely from our wrist like that because you're going to get really, really sore up here. All right, so that is going to tire you out very, very quickly. I would recommend most of the motion should be coming from your elbow. So think about locking everything in place. Think about locking your pick in place. Think about locking your wrist somewhat in place and having most of the motion coming from your forearm. Like that. All right, that way you get a little bit less fatigue. It still gets tiring. You still need to work your way up to those tempos. Now, a really, really important practice tip is even when you're playing at slow tempos, be super, super conscious of any tension. If you're repeating something a bunch of times, you're not making it perfect, you're making it permanent. You're repeating a motion again and again, but you're repeating it with tension. What's going to happen is as you speed up and play at those faster tempos, that tension is still going to be present, and that's going to be the thing that slows you down and gives you cramps and fatigue and all that stuff at those faster tempos. So be really conscious of any tension in your forearm. If you're getting tension, stop. Reassess the way you're holding your pick, reassess the way you're doing it, all that stuff.